Well, hello everybody. Hey, what I need to do with you today is go over our Day 7 class examples for Chapter 5. What you'll need in front of you is that class example sheet. It does say Day 7 class examples in the right-hand corner. It's entitled Polynomial Functions. So you'll need that class example sheet. You will need a calculator, either yours or my graphing calculator. And like I said, it's Day 7, Chapter 5. Now, what this is about, it's about what is a polynomial in one variable. I'll describe that here for you in just a second. And then we'll talk about leading coefficient, because that's going to become really important when we talk about end behavior. And then there's some function notation items that you've seen before. So with that being said, come over to your, right there where it says polynomial functions. There's a lot of information there, but I want to point out two things. I want to point out this statement right there, a polynomial of a degree in one variable. Guys, for us to talk about a polynomial in one variable, you only get to see one variable. Whether it be an x, whether it be a y, whether it be an a, you just can't see multiple variables like we've seen before. The other little thing I want to talk to you about is the degree of a polynomial in one variable is the greatest exponent of the variable. And the leading coefficient is the coefficient of that term. And I'll show you that real fast. If you would, look right there where it says polynomial, expression, degree, leading coefficient. Now, all of these are already in standard order for you. Notice, here's what I mean by standard order. It goes from the highest power down. 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 0, 1. So they're already in standard form. Here in a little bit, we will write them in standard form. But if you only see a constant, that means there's no variable with it. It's a degree of 0. In this case, the only coefficient that we're dealing with is 13. Now, if it's linear, meaning when we graph it, it would be a line, the highest degree is this 1 sitting right here. So it's a degree of 1. Now, ignore everything else. The leading coefficient is the number in front of that x to the first, which is 3. You probably got this figured out now. In the quadratic, the highest degree that I see is a 2. So ignore everything else and give me the coefficient that's left, and that is -5. On this cubic, we've graphed a couple of those already. That looks like I call them the snake. The highest degree that I see is this here 3. Ignore everything else. The coefficient in front of that x cubed is the 4. Now, I just slipped this in because if you ever take college algebra down the road, they'll give you the every scenario type. In this case, this would be a nth degree polynomial, and whatever a sub n is, whatever coefficient's there, would be the leading coefficient. So, come over to your first example there. Well, what I'd like to do on these is first put them in standard form, so the highest power down, as long as they're in one variable. Well, when I look at this one, notice that the only variable we're dealing with is the x. So, it is a polynomial in one variable. So let's put it in order first. So go find your highest power. That's that -2x to the 4th. So when I put this in order, I've got -2x to the 4th. The next highest is that x cubed. And then there's that 3x squared. And then there's that 7. Now it's in standard form. Part B said, give the degree. Well, the degree of this is 4. Part C said give the leading coefficient. Well, the leading coefficient is 2. Now, on number 2, sometimes you got to do a little bit of work first. So on number 2, we're going to FOIL this thing out first. So I'm going to go, and I'm going to get back to that. I'm going to FOIL this, and I'm going to get 3x squared minus 2x plus 15x minus 10. So part A, let's put it in order. Looks like 3x squared plus 13x minus 10. So degree-wise, this is a second-degree polynomial. The leading coefficient is that they're 3. Here goes our number 3. Let's put it in order first, because when I look at it, I only see one variable. So when I put it in order, the biggest power I see is at 8. So I got negative 4x to the 8 plus 3x to the 4th plus 6x cubed plus 2x. There it is in standard form. That makes the degree of it 8, makes the leading coefficient negative 4. Now you'll like number 4. I've got 12x squared minus 3xy. Well, I'm going to stop right there. We are only focusing today if it's a polynomial in one variable. I see 2 variables. So number 4, not a polynomial in one variable. It is a polynomial, but today I just want to focus on if it's in one variable, meaning we could type it into our graphing calculator and graph it. Here's my number 5. You'll like number 5 because it's not a polynomial. The reason being, you can't have an x in the denominator. So this one's not a polynomial. And then my number 6, this will be the last one about our polynomials. Let's put it in order. So it looks like I've got negative x to the 6th plus 8x to the 4th minus 2x cubed plus 3. It is a polynomial in one variable. Makes my degree 6, my leading coefficient negative 1. So guys, there's the first phase of what I'm doing with you today. If it's a polynomial in one variable, and if it is, what the degree is, and what the leading coefficient is. Now, we have done this next part before, but now we just got to make it a little tougher. Imagine that. Now, notice what we have going on here. I moved my little recording icon. You have 3 functions that we're dealing with. One function we're going to call f of x, and it's the one that says x cubed plus 2x squared minus 10x plus 20. There's a totally different function called g of x, which is x squared plus 3x minus 4. And then we have a third one called h of x, which is 2x squared plus 5x plus 3. Now, we've done these before, but like I said, we're just going to beef it up a little bit. So here goes. On number 9, it says do this. Go find the function of f. Go find the function of f. And then once you do, plug in negative 5 wherever there is a variable. Now, you're going to show me the work on this. You're going to write out what we're going to type into the calculator, and then you can use your calculator. So here's what this is going to look like. I'm going to write below my line here, I'm going to write negative 5 to the 3rd plus 2 parentheses, negative 5 squared, minus 10 parentheses, negative 5, plus 20. Now guys, take your time there for a second. Pause the video if you have to. Run that through your calculator just the way I have it, and you should get a number that says negative 5. So guys, I brought up my calculator real fast, so it would look like this. I would go parenthesis negative 5 to the 3rd. I'm going to get out of there. Plus 2 parenthesis negative 5 squared. I'm going to get out of there. Minus 10 parenthesis negative 5. And then plus 20. So guys, that's how you'll type it in your calculator. Whether you're using my TI-84 or your slower or your not as powerful calculator, but the answer will be the same. I also want to say this again. Remember guys, if you plug in a number, you're going to get a number. We did these before and I kept saying that. So when I do my number 10, h of negative 4, it says go hunt down the function that starts with an h. So your eyes will go to this function right here. Wherever there's an x, throw it away and plug in a -4. So it's going to look like this, guys. I'm going to have 2 parentheses, -4 squared, plus 5 parentheses, -4, plus 3. Plug in a number, get a number. Once you hit equal on that, if you run it through, you should get 15. Now in the video, I'll try to pause a little bit and give you a chance to type that in. I hate to pause too much on a video. Now, I'm going to throw kind of in a 10b. On your homework, you're going to see some problems like this. F of -5 plus h of -4. Well, you can probably figure out what you're going to do. You got to figure out what f of -5 is. In this case, it is -5. You're going to have an addition sign, and then you're going to figure out what h of -4 is, which was 15, and then you're going to add those together. Why did we add? Because of that sign right there. Okay? So you'll see some of those on the assignment today. Now, when I peek at number 11, notice that there's a 5 out of there. Well, here's what we're going to do first. First, we're going to go get g of 2. So go hunt down the function that starts with the g. So we're right here. Throw away the x and plug in a 2. So I got parentheses 2 squared plus 3 times 2 minus 4. When I run that through my brain or my calculator, I get 4 plus 6 is 10 minus 4. Looks like this piece of it comes out to be 6. Now, take care of this 5 out here. I'm now going to go 5 times 6, and I'm going to get 30. Guys, your number 12 here, we're going to find f of 1/2. So that says go hunt down the function of f, which is this guy here, that cubic. Wherever you see a x, throw it away and plug in parentheses 1/2. Now, think about this real fast, too. An easier number than using 1/2 might be 0.5, since we're typing that into our calculator. So I'm going to use 0.5. So here's what it's going to look like. I'm going to go 0.5 cubed plus 2 parentheses 0.5 squared minus 10 parentheses 0.5 plus 20. Now I'm going to bring my calculator back up real fast. So guys, when I run this one through, parentheses 0.5 cubed, I'm going to get out of that exponent, plus 2 parentheses 0.5 squared minus 10 parentheses 0.5 plus 20. Now, the reason I wanted to bring my calculator up, I will take 15.625 because that's a nice looking number. It's a terminating decimal. If you're using one of my TI 83s or 84s, you could also go math, enter, enter, and get it as an improper fraction. So guys, answer-wise on this, we would have taken 15.625 or 125 over 8. Now, I'm going to switch gears just a little bit. Number 13 and 14, notice that they have variables in them. On number 9 through 12, if you plug in a number, you're going to get a number. But now on number 13, if you plug in something with a variable, you'll probably get something with the variable. But the steps are going to be the same. Go hunt down the function of f, which is this first one, that cubic one. Throw away all the x's there and replace them with a 3t. So it's going to look like this. I'm going to have parenthesis 3t to the third plus 2 parenthesis 3t squared minus 10 parenthesis 3t plus 20. Now we're going to apply those properties we've been using. 3t to the third, so I need to take 3 to the third, and I'm going to get 27. T to the third. Remember, if it's a power raised to another power, you multiply those powers, so 1 times 3 is 3. Now, when I go to my next one, 3t squared is really 9t squared. And I'm going to multiply that by 2. So I've got plus 18t squared minus 30t plus 20. There it is, a polynomial from highest power to lowest power. So there we go. Same thing on number 14. Go hunt down the function that starts with the g. Now, and then wherever you see the x, throw it away and plug in negative 4m. So it's going to look like this. I spy x squared plus 3x minus 4. So I'm going to go parenthesis, negative 4m quantity squared, plus 3 parenthesis, negative 4m, minus 4. Notice that your calculator doesn't help you a ton here. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16 m squared minus 12m minus 4. And then we got it. Now guys, since I'm doing a video here, I've really kind of shortened the examples up. Notice I've only got 4 more to go. Now they do get a little bit tougher because they involve foiling. So hang in there. So there's that page. Here comes my last page. Now, when I do this one, guys, I'm going to go number 15, then down to number 17, and then I'm going to go back up to number 16. That's the route I'm going to go. I'm going to group the 2 G's together and the 2 H's together. Now, look at what we're doing. This says go hunt down the function of G. Once you find it, throw away your X's and plug in quantity a squared minus 1. Now, I'm going to also, since there's a quantity squared, instead of writing it like this, quantity a squared minus 1 squared plus 3 times a squared minus 1 minus 4, since there's a quantity squared, we're going to write it like this when we see it. A squared minus 1 times a squared minus 1 plus 3 times a squared minus 1 minus 4. So guys, next time I see a quantity squared, I'm going to skip this step right here, and we're going to write it out twice. The reason we're going to do that, that way you will remember to use FOIL. So here goes. A squared times a squared is a to the 4th. Remember, multiply, you add your powers. A squared times negative 1 is negative a squared. Negative 1 times a squared is another a squared plus 1. Plus 3a squared minus 3 minus 4. I just distributed right here. Now let's go get our answer. Looks like I've got an a to the 4th and no other a to the 4th. Here's an a squared. Here's a negative 1a squared and a positive 3a squared. Negative 1 plus negative 1 plus 3 is positive 1a squared. And then I've got 1 minus 3 minus 4. You could type that in your calculator if you want. We're going to get negative 6. So that's how we'll handle that. If it's a quantity, a binomial squared, we'll write it twice. So here goes my next one. We're dropping down to number 17. We're going to go G of 5a minus 2. This one's a little bit easier than number 15, to be truthful. So I'm going to have 5a minus 2 quantity squared, so I'm going to write it out twice. 5a minus 2 times 5a minus 2 plus 3 times 5a minus 2 minus 4. Now, let's FOIL this out. So I've got 25a squared minus 10a minus another 10a plus 4. Now let's distribute that 3 and get 15a minus 6 minus 4. Let's combine your like terms. So I spy a 25a squared. Here's a negative 10, and a positive 15. Negative 10, and 15 make negative 5a. And then 4 minus 6 minus 4 is minus 6. So there it is, guys. Now number 16 and 18 are a tad harder. It's going to add in one extra step, but nothing you can't handle. So here goes my number 16. H of 3c minus 4. It says go hunt down the function of h. Once you find it, throw away all those x's and write in 3c minus 4. So I've got a 2. Now, I'm going to write 3c minus 4 twice. Plus 5 times 3c minus 4 plus 3. Now, what I'm going to do, guys, is this. I'm going to take care of this part first. And then after I get that, I'm going to distribute a 2. So I'm going to put a little bracket right here. And then let's FOIL out the 3c minus 4. 3c times 3c is 9c squared minus 12c minus 12c plus 16. Let's distribute the 5 and get 15c minus 20 plus 3. Now, we're going to distribute this 2. So I'm going to have 18c squared minus 24c minus another 24c plus 32 plus 15c minus 20 plus 3. So guys, the same thing that we did on 15 and 16, but we had an extra 2 out front that we're going to distribute. Now let's go get our answer. The highest squared I see is 18c squared. Okay, so let's go combine your like terms. So I spy an 18c squared. Now, in your calculator, let's combine negative 24, and positive 15. And if we do that, we'll get negative 33c. And then I'm going to combine 32, negative 20, and 3. So on my calculator, I'm just going to go 32 minus 20, that's going to be 12, plus 3 is 15. Okay. And I'm going to click through my last one, guys. I was hoping my video would be about 22, 23 minutes. I'm going to be spot on. So here's how your number 19 is going to look. I'm going to have a 2, and we're going to write down negative 4d plus 3 twice because it's a quantity squared. And then I'm going to have plus 5 times negative 4d plus 3. And then we'll have that plus 3. So once again, guys, leave the 2 alone. FOIL this out. So negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16d squared minus 12d minus another 12d plus 9. I'm going to distribute the 5 and get negative 20d plus 15 minus 3, or plus 3. I'm going to distribute this 2, so I'm going to get 32d squared. I'm going to skip a step. Negative 12 and negative 12 make negative 24. Doubled is negative 48d plus 18. And then just write down the rest. And then let's bring this thing home. The highest power that I see is a squared, so there's 32d squared. I'm going to combine negative 48 and negative 20 to get negative 68d. And then 18 and 15 and 3 make 33 plus 3 is 36. So guys, there's the day 7 material. Okay? Do a good job on your homework. Take your time on it. It's not a long assignment, but some of the problems take a little bit of time. If you have any problems, buzz in. We'll get you straightened out. Good luck.